What is happening, fam? It is your boy, the Sultan of Sativa, the Ayatollah of Indica, a.k.a. the Bobby Fischer of BHO, a.k.a. the Michael Phelps of marijuana, a.k.a. the Gordon Ryan of ganj, a.k.a. the Hickson of hash, a.k.a. the Holy Hashashin, a.k.a. Nedard Sparks of fucking first of his name, a.k.a. Abraham Lincoln, a.k.a. President United Bakes of America, Donald Blunt. And I'm here with another brand spanking fucking new episode of your favorite podcast, the number one can of podcasts on the planet. Let's talk about it. You know, what the fuck has been up? For me, it's been a lot of shit. And I didn't even realize I have 2 fucking extra podcasts in the clip. 3 if you count 79 that I just uploaded the other day. It was recorded like practically a month ago. I need a producer. I need somebody to do some of this shit. I need to get paid for this shit so that I can hire a producer. You know, you could help me with that. Support this podcast and support your motherfucking self by joining the Let's Talk About It Patreon. It's a great place to fucking go. I've been dropping some crazy shit. Some podcasts I listen to, some of which are fucking insane. I'm not saying I believe every podcast that I post up in there, but I listen to it. You know? Some good personal development stuff. Been posting my notes for my 10 pages, for my 75 Hard Life. In my own handwriting. You know, I recently finished the book on mental toughness by Andy Frisella, where he goes over all of the 75 hard stuff and what you're supposed to do and how you do it. And one of the things that I was not doing, and while I was a little active with my reading, you know, making highlights in there. I was not taking good notes and then transferring those notes to maybe a note in my phone so I can refer back to them. So starting with the book on mental toughness, which I started at the beginning of the year and have finished, I've been taking better notes, a more active approach to my reading, and it's been great. Yeah, I finished the book on mental toughness. I've been posting my notes from the book that I'm currently reading, The Art of Deception by Nicholas Capaldi. It's a book I had gotten from maybe for an English class in college. Maybe I stole it from the college bookstore. I don't exactly remember. But as somebody who was deceitful at that point in my life, I felt like that might be a good addition. Sidetrack, totally digress. I actually got to use the book that I'm reading currently, The Art of Deception by Nicholas Capaldi, in a fucking Facebook argument. That's part of the reason why I'm wearing my Bad Brains t-shirt. If you know me, this is like the quintessential Elliot t-shirt from the old high school era. And I was on the Face Space, a.k.a. the Facebooks, a.k.a. Big Zuck's house. And I saw a post from a buddy of mine. He's an old drummer. I say buddy of mine. He's not really my buddy. I mean, kind of. You know, I don't have any real problem other than he just acts like a bitch. And I'm sorry to say that. I don't say that to be rude. But he accused me of using ad hominem on him, which was in my Art of Deception book, and I knew exactly what he meant in saying that, and I had to turn around and roast him and let him know that ain't no ad hominem around here when your conclusion is based on false premises. Don't argue with me, motherfucker. You know, this motherfucker, this is the same motherfucker, and I know I've talked about him on the podcast. If you listen, I'm sure you've heard me say it. This is the motherfucker that said, you used to be the punkest person I know. Now you're a fucking Proud Boy. Which obviously, if wow, that's fucking hilarious. What a fucking weird life I have. So I got in this fucking argument with old Jack, and the motherfucker is a writer of some sort, and I had to fucking roast him, dude. You know, and he fucking is wishy-washy on his positions. It started with exactly what you would think it started with. he said some dumbass shit like, why is it that 9 out of 10 people who say there's only 2 genders didn't even pass high school biology class? It's like, well, fucking, first of all, Jack, some of us didn't pass high school biology class because on the days that we went there, we were asleep. And we didn't care that Mr. Alicia would take Polaroid pictures of us sleeping and send them to our parents after making us sign them. Which was really ridiculous because it is exhausting. At least my high school experience was exhausting. And the fact that I was probably out till 1 a.m. the night before, drinking, maybe playing at a show, at one point doing cocaine, going to school, doing normal shit. And fucking, so the second time I had biology, I barely went then either. And when I did, me and Brent Visubilis played Pokemon on fucking Game Boy. And it was the Game Boy SP when they had created the Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green that had came with the connector, the wireless connector. So we were battling and trading Pokemon wirelessly. Even after she separated us, we did sit next to each other. She separated us. And we still were battling from across the fucking room. It was great. Back in the T9 texting days. Nextel, chirp, chirp. I got a little bit of an argument with old Jackety Jack, don't look back. I said, man, Jack can't fucking defend his position. His argument, he ain't got no argument. He goes to personal attack ad hominem himself. And can't really defend his position because he can't defend himself physically. And, and I was thinking about it because I'd heard that a little while ago that there's, maybe it was on Huberman somewhere, but they were talking about how, some people, maybe it was Andy, can't fucking defend your position and stand on your fucking square because you can't defend yourself physically. And if shit in your argument or conversation that you're having gets to a physical altercation, you would not be able to defend yourself. So you have to do what you are told or what somebody else imposes upon you. And here's the thing. Jack and I have already had these types of interactions before. One of the last times I saw him, not the last time, which was at a friend of mine's funeral, another ex-member of Kill Whitey, greatest fucking most dangerous hardcore band of the early 2000s. Hardcore punk. We didn't quite breach into the hardcore realm. We were punk. Punk scousers on a skateboard. I'm not sure, but I think I ashed into this. And it's the drink that I'm drinking. But I'm going to drink it anyway and keep it moving because why the fuck not? And me and Jack had an interaction like this before where the motherfucker was talking shit. And the last time I saw him, I just happened to be parked outside of his house. It's 100% coincidental. I didn't even know that he lived there. And I saw him getting out of his car, and he didn't know my car because he hadn't seen me in years at that point. And I get out, and I'm like, hey, Jack. And the motherfucker turns to run. And I'm like, yo, where you going? And then he realized that, shit was cool and calmed down, and we chopped it up. And I realized that the last time him and I had talked, he had said a bunch of foul shit while I was getting high, shooting dope. And I'm pretty sure I might have told him in a Facebook message that I was going to fucking be waiting outside of his fucking apartment and hit him with a fucking brick. And so, I let that shit slide, man. I never forget, and I use that kind of shit as motivation. I always have. The motherfucker even said on this Facebook argument, he said, you're a curious case of natural selection. I fucking about laughed my ass off. Because I'm like, you're a fucking curious case of natural selection. How the fuck, I had to let him know, it's like, hey, I am a fucking curious case of natural selection, and you gotta understand every day I take that shit so seriously. I'm so grateful. I fucking have become a fucking leader no matter where I'm at. It's what I do. It's who I am. If there's a group, I'm going to take charge in most scenarios. And I was like, yeah, I took this curious case of natural selection and have made sure that I've I show act with an attitude of gratitude and have become a leader in my community. Like you have taken your curious case of natural selection and opted to have a breathalyzer in every car you've owned as an adult. You know, and I hate to roast somebody because of a drinking problem and sufferings of the addiction. But, you know, if you're going to low blow me and bring up the fact that I was an addict, which I talk about all the time, and it's actually a major contributing factor to my life and the way that I choose to live my life every day, you know, in order to continue to make amends to myself and the world around me, you know, and then to have somebody who knows me and is just trying to take a cheap shot, I'm gonna fucking give it right back. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I don't know if that's the most spiritual way of handling shit, but you know, I also let him know that he was soft as baby shit and that we should go train. We should go for a run. We should do some jiu-jitsu. We should go get a workout in. Because, you know, you have a fucking kid. You can't be this soft motherfucker drinking all the time, not doing shit. I mean, and not to hate, but the guys, to the best of my knowledge, and I could be wrong, the motherfucker is working delivering Chinese food at the place that I used to deliver Chinese food at when I was fucking 18 years old. And this motherfucker's older than me. He's 39. You know, don't throw fucking stones, man. I live in a goddamn glass house. I mean, I know my shit's not perfect, but I mean, I'm fucking working my ass off. I got some good things in the works, not only for myself, but for many fucking people. So it gets me back to, it brings me right back. Join my fucking Patreon, man. Join the fucking Patreon. I do a call 3 Sundays a month, 8 p.m. And on this call, we discuss our goals, personal responsibility. We hold each other accountable. There's a good group of a few of us. You know, I have it to where it's set to where you can fucking get in for a week free. So do it on a week where you're going to be able to catch a fucking call because it's been powerful, man. We've been doing it since pretty much the beginning of the year, and the shit has been powerful. You know, I'm on a mission. You know, there's gonna be some events. Obviously, any of the Patreon members are gonna have first dibs on any events. You know, there will be other incentives. I know that when you look at the price of the Patreon, you're gonna say, that seems expensive. But understand that I'm taking time away from my kids, my family, time that I could be doing some other shit, to further my own mission and some of the other things I have going on. But I really believe in what we're trying to do. The guys that are in there that want to be involved and want to grow personally, professionally, live with some principles, have some good men around them to help keep them accountable, and really call them on their shit. You know, and understand that I expect the same for myself. I share some of my personal goals, aspirations, dreams, shit that I want to be held accountable to. Because that shit is important, man. It's part of what's kept me clean off of heroin for the last 13 years about. You know, it's these principles, this type of activity where, you know, I chop it up with the good homies. That's like real shit that has saved my life on many occasions. You know, it's helped me. It's a group of people that I've developed a relationship with that I could call day or night, and they will be there for me in whatever capacity I need. You know, and that shit comes from really being able to be honest, open, and share about who you are, what your goals are, what you want, who you are as a man, who you are as a parent, who you are as a fucking, you know, family member. It can get a little raw. You know, I mean, shit, last week it was just me and one other person. You know, the other guys were fucking off or whatever they were doing. But that shit gets raw, man. And we talk about a lot of things. We game plan things. It's like a little mastermind group, you know, and I'd like to get it to a point where people are able to share resources with each other. You know, there's a group chat. I mean, if you feel like you have a hard time connecting with some like-minded individuals, or people don't understand what you got going on or what you're going through, or if you utilize cannabis and have been shunned from a recovery program, if you've never been in a recovery program and you're trying to fucking figure out life, fucking come join us. If you're fucking somebody that just wants to fucking better themselves, if you're somebody that just fucking rocks with me and the shit that I've had going on the last 5.5 years and fucking before, then get in there, man. It'd be cool. It's where I'm starting to put my effort. Because just this regular social media shit's not cutting it. I'm probably going to be doing some more cannabis related content in there. Primarily who has the worst products. And I'm not going to just go on the gram talking shit. But I will talk shit at my fucking Patreon, and if you want to know what's going on, then you can fucking surely get in there. Don't call me Shirley. So yeah, that's enough of that. The Patreon is dope, man. There's cool shit going on. I've had a lot happening, trying to figure some shit out, trying to figure out some goals, right now for myself personally. Got a jiu-jitsu competition this weekend with my kids. It's the same in-house one we did last year. I feel good. I'm about getting ready to go on a fucking run after this, or maybe I'll lift some weights. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a little bit of both. Maybe I'll slang some iron kettlebells around and go for a run. Who knows? The sky is fucking the limit. Oh, I definitely was putting, weed stems, and I'm still gonna drink this, dude. It's just weed stems. I thought it was an empty, not realizing that it was not an empty. And that's the shit that happens, man. So let's get into it. There's a shit ton of things I want to talk about. Some funny, some not. I feel like I've been talking about weed corruption a bunch lately, you know, and I kind of want to carry it on because I don't think I talked about this lady. Maybe I did, but I guess there's been some updates. I don't know, dude. We're gonna talk about it some more because it just is fucking nuts to me. California woman who stabbed her boyfriend 108 times, sentenced to probation and community service. What in the actual fuck? How do you fucking... Bryn Spector, 32, avoided prison time after being convicted of involuntary manslaughter in the 2018 stabbing death of her boyfriend, Chad O'Malia, 26. Why is this bitch dating a fucking 26-year-old? This was updated on the 25th of January. An expert at Bryn Spector's trial testified she was suffering from cannabis-induced psychosis at the time of the 2018 attack. I don't know what cannabis-induced psychosis is. I've never had it, so I'm speaking from a place of ignorance here, giving someone the benefit of the doubt, just hypothetically, in this situation. What the fuck is that, man? Like, I understand the idea of, like, cocaine-induced psychosis or fucking meth-induced psychosis, but weed? I mean, look, in the last 20 years, I've seen a lot of people act real funny on weed, but never with the stabbing, man. Especially stabbed her boyfriend more than 100 times. And also stabbed herself. You gotta stab yourself. If you stab your boyfriend 108 times, you gotta stab yourself a few. You gotta make it look good if you're gonna expect to get off. Because, I mean, over a triple-digit stabbing, you're talking about that's some serious fucking... I got called cold-hearted last night. Cause fucking for some reason, my ex-girlfriend, one of them, hit me up at midnight, after midnight, faking like it was an accident. Bitch was drunk, looking to connect with an ex, said she was trying to call her other most recent ex. I don't know. Weird shit, man. Why is it that whenever I got some good shit going on, God is trying to throw a wrench in my fucking shit, my emotional well-being? From that point forward, she had no control over her actions, he said. Yo, this judge was trying to fuck. I don't know why else you would think that. Or he's like just dumb as shit. A California woman who was facing up to 4 years in... How would she be facing up to 4 years for fatally stabbing her boyfriend more than 100 times during a drug-induced psychotic episode in 2018? Is that just because that's her involuntary manslaughter only carries a penalty of 4 years? Dude, her lawyer must be a fucking beast. I wonder if he's one of those normal lawyers, like off the normal website, National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws, not some other website like a normal law. I don't know. Killed this motherfucker. 26. The Ventura County Star, LA Times, and KTLA reported from the courtroom. She had been facing a possible 4-year prison term ahead of her sentencing hearing. May 27th, 2018, prosecutors said the Spetchker family fatally stabbed Omelia. What are these fucking names, dude? An accountant inside his Thousand Oaks, California apartment. Approximately 108 times. And I'm saying this in a lighthearted manner. There is nothing funny about Chad Omelia, the accountant, getting stabbed to death by Bryn Spetchker, 32, 108 times because of cannabis-induced psychosis. After the couple had smoked marijuana together, the Ventura County Star reported she also repeatedly stabbed herself. Her mugshot is pretty kooky, dude. I mean, I don't know. She's kind of fucking nutty looking. According to the Ventura County Star, police officers who responded to the scene said they found Spetchker in a pool of blood holding a knife. They reportedly had to use a taser and a baton to disarm her and take her into custody. They hit the shit out of that bitch. During the trial, a medical expert testified that Spetchker's behavior was the result of cannabis-induced psychosis. The LA Times reported, according to the National Library of Medicine, a diagnosis of the disorder is given when hallucinations or delusions materialize shortly after consuming cannabis. Is that real? They got that as a thing? That sounds to me like false memory syndrome or whatever they fucking call it. Spetchker's defense attorneys claimed that their client was involuntarily intoxicated, and Amelia had allegedly bullied and intimidated her into smoking the last bit of marijuana. Nobody in the history of people has ever bullied somebody into smoking the last of the weed. I just don't believe that one bit. I've been around a lot. I've been in a lot of sessions. I've never seen anybody that was also high bully and intimidate somebody into the smoking of marijuana. Is it possible? Maybe. I don't know. Is it probable? I don't think so. Highly improbable, if you ask me. Omelia's family faced Spetchker at a court in Tuesday's sentencing hearing where she expressed remorse for her behavior. My actions have ripped your family apart, she said, per the Ventura County Star. I am broken and aching inside. I hurt that you never see Chad again. Dude. And I mean, maybe those quotes could easily be taken out of context. I'm no fool. But still, that just seems weird. It's been 5.5 years where she's got to live with her family, and we get to live with a box of ashes, Shane said, according to KTLA. I don't know who. Oh, Shane Amelia, the victim's brother, grieved his loved one at the hearing and shared the difficulties of knowing Spetchker had been out of jail on bail since 2018. 5.5 years since she's got to live with her family, we got to live with a box of ashes. Ventura County Superior Court Judge David Worley defended his decision to sentence Spetchker to no prison time. From that point forward, she had no control of her actions, he said, referring to the moments after she had smoked the portion of marijuana, per the Ventura County Star. Spetchker's attorney, Michael Goldstein, agreed, called the sentence a fair and accurate reflection of conduct that he claims was out of his client's control, according to the LA Times. This just seems nuts, dude. I mean, let me know what you guys think. There's a Q&A on fucking, or comments, what did you think type thing. Answer there. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go, or YouTube, as my daughter used to say. Daddy, put on YouTube. Leave me a comment, man. Let me know what you think. Sorry for the long pause there. There's some other things that I find funny. Because that's kind of a fucking downer. First of all, cannabis psychosis. And I've been seeing people talking about, maybe I talked about it on the podcast previously, maybe I didn't. I don't remember. But like the uptick in cannabis-induced schizophrenia and how it affects black males 30% more, apparently. I actually had somebody fucking talk about that shit. It was very obscure. One article here, anybody here knows me deeply, so probably not very many of you, and maybe you never knew this about me, but I was a big wrestling fan of the old WWF, some WCW, way back in the day when I was a kid. I even got to go to a couple live wrestling events. My dad took me. Wonderful memories. Very fortunate to have been able to go to so many shows, concerts with my family. It's always kind of been a priority. I've seen many cool bands with my mom. We've seen Social Distortion together probably 7 or 8 times. Rollins Band, X, Clapton. A lot of cool shit. My dad used to come to every one of my shows, at least every one that he could. I'm going to have to get some of this old footage put onto a fucking flash drive or something, upload some of that shit. Because there is some good footage. I may or may not have had some makeup on in these events. I was a tranny, dude. There was many shows I played wearing like a fucking skirt and with full makeup on. I'm not going to say I was trans, I was a tranny. I'm old school, I'm an OG trans. Tranny's been around a long time, dude. Everybody knows that. This episode might even get pulled because I just said trannies. Are you allowed to say trannies anymore? Or is it a transsexual? What about dudes that just like to dress up like chicks but aren't like trying to transition to be a chick or live as a chick all the time? They just do it sometimes. At what degree, I don't know, dude. There's a lot to it. But I used to like wrestling. And I recently saw that old Vince McMahon, who, honestly, the guy's a fucking animal. He is a hard-working motherfucker. Been around a long time, but now, and maybe this is coming out because they want Vince to get the fuck on, dude. Move the fuck on, dude. You're old. You're damn near 80. The motherfucker is jacked for 80, too. I mean, that motherfucker is pumping himself full of testosterone. Vince McMahon probably gets way more pussy as a 76-year-old man than all of us combined. But these things can be a man's downfall. Vince McMahon assaulted ex-employee with sex toys named after WWE wrestlers. Defecated on her head during a threesome in a bombshell suit. Yo, sex toys named after WWE wrestlers is crazy. Can you imagine fucking you're in a threesome with Vince McMahon? Now, I'm sure we're going to find out when this allegedly happened. Oh, hell no. So I was just about to say, I'm laughing because I'm imagining this is in his 70s Vince McMahon, old man Vince, shitting on this woman's head during a threesome. If, getting railed out by some other dude. Who's the other dude? Who is Vince McMahon having a threesome? He's probably having a threesome with two other chicks. So the fucking one chick is probably getting eaten out, and he just fucking comes over, squats down, and shits on her head. Like, at some point, you had to realize what was happening almost moments after, like, within one moment of him coming over and squatting. I mean, unless maybe you thought that he, like, wanted to get his salad tossed, which I guess is reasonable to assume. But, I mean, the turtle head poking out, was it diarrhea? Yeah, I don't know. Let's find out. No more speculation. A former WWE employee claimed Vince McMahon sexually abused her, including with sex toys that he named after wrestling stars. Come here. Oh, fucking Razor Ramon's gonna get you. Up. Watch out for the fucking bushwhackers. Make way for the Hardy Boys. Jarrell Grant broke her silence about her relationship with disturbing allegations, including charges that the wrestling magnate defecated on her head during a threesome. And guess what? I was right. It is Vince McMahon in his 70s. In May of 2020, that's only 3 years ago, the motherfucker was definitely over the age of 70 while he was shitting on this woman's head, allegedly. She's alleging it, not me. And sex trafficked her to other WWE executives. According to the complaint filed in Connecticut federal court on Thursday, Grant alleged in the complaint that McMahon sent her a text message in May of 2020 which read, "I'm the only one who owns you and controls who I want to fuck you." Her lawsuit comes after the Wall Street Journal reported last year that the WWE was investigating an alleged $3 million payout from Vince McMahon to a departing female employee following a consensual affair. Grant, who was unnamed at the time, claimed she received the initial installment of $1 million, but no further payments afterward in the new lawsuit. She wanted that bread, man. Vince is petty for not paying her, dude. Just give her the $3 million, man. You shit on her head, dude. Allegedly. You allegedly shit on this woman's head. You gotta give her the full $3 million. A subsequent investigation found that McMahon paid $14.6 million to several women who accused him of sexual misconduct. Okay, well, you know, if you're doing this with a lot of different women, that shit starts adding up, I guess. But, I mean, come on. Vince McMahon, fucking, that guy's a billionaire. Big Billy. According to the lawsuit, McMahon's use of sex toys on Grant caused her to fucking injuries. I wonder if, like, the Mankind dildo, he put a sock over it. So it was Mankind and Mr. Socko. Caused her injuries such as bruising and bleeding, the Journal reported on Thursday. That's fucked up, Vince. How you gonna do that, dude? Vince McMahon, who is also alleged to have shared nude photos and explicit videos of Grant without her consent to other WWE employees, according to the lawsuit. He once locked her inside his private locker room at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut, and forced himself on her over a massage table, the complaint said. She's pretty cute. WWE boss is also alleged to have directed Grant to have sex with other executives and a wrestling star, the lawsuit claims. John Laurinaitis, I don't know, WWE's former head of talent relations who is named as a defendant in the lawsuit, was allegedly recruited by McMahon to have sex with Grant. Okay, Grant was told by McMahon to visit Laurinaitis in his hotel rooms where she had sex with him before work days in an alleged lawsuit. In one encounter at the WWE offices in June of 2021, McMahon and Laurinaitis forced themselves on her and took turns restraining her for the other, it was alleged in the lawsuit. Damn, Vince. No means yes, and take it, bitch, were among the things McMahon and Laurinaitis said to Grant during the alleged lawsuit, according to the lawsuit. The alleged assault. I mean, that's fucked up, dude. But can you imagine? Fucking 70-something-year-old Vince McMahon. I don't know this other guy. But, I mean, the guy's strong as shit, I guess. He was working out every day. But that still is just fucking foul. In July 21, McMahon told Grant to create sexualized content on her phone and send it to Brock Lesnar. Oh, Brock! a former UFC star whom the WWE was trying to sign at the time. Last July, federal law enforcement agents executed a search warrant and served a federal grand jury subpoena to McMahon, according to a regulatory filing. WWE said in filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission that while government investigations into McMahon remain ongoing, no charges have been brought against them. The company said it has received voluntary and compulsory legal demands for documents, including from the federal law enforcement and regulatory agencies, concerning the investigation and related subject matters. In 2022, WWE formed a special committee to review allegations of misconduct against McMahon, said in a statement. That review was conducted in November of 2022, following an extensive investigation. McMahon said, throughout his experience, I have always denied any intentional wrongdoing and continue to do so. I'm confident the government's investigation will be resolved without any findings of wrongdoing. Last year, Endeavor, the talent agency run by Ari Emanuel, completed a $21.4 billion merger with the WWE. TKO Group, the merged entity that combines WWE and UFC, said in regulatory filings on Tuesday that WWE's weekly television show Raw will move to Netflix next year as part of a major streaming deal with more than $5 billion. Damn, moving wrestling. They're trying to move all this shit off TV and on the streaming because nobody gives a fuck about TV. McMahon is also alleged to have shared nude photos and explicit videos of Grant without her consent with other WWE employees, according to the lawsuit. WWE boss also alleged to have directed Grant to have sex with other executives, the lawsuit claims. Okay. That's fucking insane, man. Vince fucking McMahon. What a fucking... If he's guilty of this shit, which, I mean, if I was a betting man, I would definitely say that it was a lock to say he didn't do it. But it sounds like he was doing some illegal fucking. And how do you, like, I mean, damn. I don't know that I would ever feel confident shitting on a woman. I mean, don't get it fucked up. I could shit in front of a room full of people. I've had to do it on multiple occasions. But the reality is that, like, I would not feel comfortable in a sexual situation, especially with one of the homies, to just fucking drop trow and shit on her face. For what? You can put your dick in her mouth after? Bruh, stop it. Don't do any of this shit, man. Don't have sex with somebody if they don't want to have sex with you. And don't shit on their face. Even if you're a billionaire and can do that. Look, speaking of illegal fucking, let's dive into this next article. Kentucky Republican pushes bill to make sex with first cousin not incest. Kentucky, are you okay? So apparently there's been an update to, I guess he tried to claim that it was an accident. A Kentucky Republican introduced legislation that would amend the state's law so a person who had sex with their first cousin would no longer be criminally liable for incest, before withdrawing it and claiming an error that was made during the drafting process. House Bill 269, which Representative Nick Wilson sponsored, was introduced on January 16th to the House Committee on Committees. Imagine being the lobbyist that's pushing these Congress people to pass a bill that includes a section on decriminalizing incest with your first cousin. Big fucking incest is trying to force policy decisions that we, the American people, do not want. It's bullshit. Introduced to the January 16th to the House Committee on Committees. According to the Kentucky General Assembly website, it would have struck, first of all, the House Committee on Committees. We need a House Committee. What's it called? Well, it's for the committees, so it's the House Committee on Committees. That's how I imagine the name was formed for the House Committee on Committees. Fucking Kentuckians. And I'm sure there's some great people in Kentucky, so if you're from Kentucky and you're listening to this, please don't be upset with me. I love you. According to the Kentucky General Assembly website, it would have struck first cousin from the list of familial relationships defined as unlawful incest in the state. In a statement sent to Newsweek, Wilson described this as a mistake and a wider bill intended to extend legal protection against incest, which he'd withdrawn and refiled, leaving the first cousin reference in place. What? Wilson, then a 27-year-old public defender, first shot to prominence when he won the 37th season of CBS reality TV show Survivor in 2018. Yeah, this motherfucker got elected because he won Survivor, called Survivor, David vs. Goliath, before returning for the 40th season, featuring the winners from previous shows in 2020. In November of 22, Wilson ran unopposed for the 82nd District of Kentucky House after Republican incumbent Regina Huff retired. You'd be smoking that Huff. I wouldn't even, if I started using the name Regina Huff in my list of weed names, I wouldn't even need to change the name at all. She just strikes me as somebody, clearly people from the 82nd District are fucking huffers. Huff smokers. Kentucky's law states that a person is guilty of incest if they engage in sexual relations with a person they know to be his or her parent, child, grandparent, grandchild, great-grandparent, great-grandchild, uncle, aunt, nephew, niece, brother, sister, first cousin, ancestor, or descendant. The initial amendment introduced by Wilson, if passed, would have removed first cousin from this list. Both the initial and updated versions of Wilson's bill would also amend Kentucky law on parole for violent offenders to include a person who has been convicted of incest by sexual contact within the definition. Your daily briefing of everything you need to know in a statement provided to Newsweek, which Wilson described the part of his initial legislation removing first cousins from the illegal incest list as a mistake that had since been rectified. He commented, I filed House Bill 269 yesterday. The purpose of the bill is to add sexual contact to the incest statute. Currently, incest only applies in cases of intercourse, so sexual touching, groping by uncles, stepdads, or anyone with a familial relationship is not included in incest. My bill would make that kind of sexual contact a Class D felony. Unless the victim is under the age of 12, then it would increase the penalty to a Class C felony. What it should do is increase penalty to wood chipper. During the drafting process, there was an inadvertent change which struck first cousins from the list of relationships included under the incest statute, and I failed to add it back in during today's session. I will withdraw House Bill 269 and refile a bill with the first cousin language intact. The fact that I was able to file a bill, catch the mistake, withdraw the bill, and refile within a 24-hour period shows that we have a good system. Okay, dude. This is a bill to combat a problem of familial and cyclical abuse that transcends generations of Kentuckians. Okay, let's fucking see what you're really about. I understand that I made a mistake, but I sincerely hope my mistake doesn't hurt the chances of the corrected version of the bill. It is a good bill, and I hope it will get a second chance. What else is in there, you little fucking weirdo? When I look at him, he looks like a little fucking weaselly weirdo. No offense, Bill. I mean, no shade. Wilson's initial bill was called Truly Insane by Eliza Orleans, a New York public defender who previously appeared as a contestant on Survivor Vanuatu and Survivor Micronesia. What the fuck? In a nearly 2-minute TikTok video also shared on her X account, Orland said, "Oh my God, I've got some wild news. This relates to the David vs. Goliath winner of Survivor, Nick Wilson, who has then leveraged his fame he obtained from winning Survivor to run for Kentucky state legislator and got elected." That's exactly what I said. Nick Wilson is not only supporting, but has introduced a bill that would reclassify incest in the state of Kentucky to not include your own first cousin. Kentucky, like so many other places, is facing lots of issues, and this is Nick's top legislative priority. Wow. Orleans urged her followers to reach out to anyone you know in Kentucky and tell them to flood this office with phone calls and make the story known. In August 2021, webcomic creator and YouTuber Christine Winston Chandler, also known as Chris Chan, was arrested on a charge of incest in Virginia. Oh, what the fuck? Throw her in the fucking wood chipper. Chris Chan. Oh, Christine. Oh, I get it. So, YouTuber Christine Weston Chandler, also known as Chris Chan. Huh. But the They don't do that. Well, apparently they do. And later caused a stir by stamping their feet repeatedly in court to disrupt proceedings. The case was dismissed in August of 23. What the fuck? French survivors of incest spoke out online in January of 21 using the hashtag MeTooInceste after prominent lawyer Camille Krochner alleged that her stepfather, a high-profile political scientist, sexually abused her as a child. Wow. I mean, so this is what's happening in the government. You won't run for a political office, and we got guys like Nick Wilson from Survivor. You know, I mean, that was pretty good fix, buddy. Let's see. So I'm gonna take a quick little 2-second break. Pause. And we're back. Sorry, just a slight joint rolling. Had to get a couple things to prepare myself for this run. I need to put a few miles in, man. Trying to figure out the best route to go. What I want to do. Adventurous, I feel like being. The whole nine. I guess I could just try and master the monotony. AirPods here charge up quickly. So I can get a little radiation into my brain while I'm running. That's how I like it. I'm going to dive into this last topic here. Since we were just talking about the legal system, we got some prisoners that are suing Alabama. More of these fucking wild-ass southern states. Prisoners are suing Alabama over forced labor, calling it a, quote, form of slavery. And it is. I mean, if you don't know about the 14th Amendment and the abolition of slavery and ending of all things slavery, except for those less than citizens who are victims of mass prisoning. And I think it's pretty crazy. There's like a lot of people that still don't understand how this privatized prison system works, who benefits, how it really is just fucked up. And this article hopefully should give us some insight into that. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this joint to live. A group of current and former Alabama prisoners are alleging that the state's prison labor practices amount to a modern-day form of slavery, according to a complaint filed in federal court this week. The plaintiffs include 10 men and women who worked during their time in Alabama's prisons and say they were trapped in a system in which incarcerated people are forced to work, often for little or no money. That's called slavery. Maybe indentured servitude, depending on the situation, for the benefit of the numerous government entities and private businesses. Those 10 people are all black. A fact they emphasize underscores the disproportionate number of black people held in the state's prisons. Well, there is some overwhelming statistics, for sure. And it is disproportionate, no question. Is it designed that way? Probably. In some ways. But when you look at crime in general and where it is and who's committing it, on whom, those numbers are a little interesting. Sorry if I offend anybody with that. Their lawsuit also alleges that the conditions in the state's prison system itself are inhumane and render any work there inherently coercive. In 2020, the Department of Justice sued the state for failing to provide prisoners with safe and sanitary conditions. Tight. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey and Attorney General Steve Marshall are among the public officials being sued, along with the leaders of the state's Department of Corrections and Transportation and its Board of Pardons and Parole. Several private employers named in the lawsuit are the franchises of well-known companies McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, KFC, where prisoners have worked as part of a work release program. So listen to this. If you're not getting it, there are prisoners that are getting out of prison for a work release program. They're going to their job with a bracelet on, probably on their ankle, and they are getting paid little to no money way less than the minimum wage because they're prisoners. It's fucking crazy. Definitely a form of slavery. Most of those defendants could not immediately be reached for comment. The Alabama Department of Corrections told NPR it cannot comment on any ongoing litigation. The governor, the attorney general, the parole board, the private employers, the public employers, and all the participating in this enterprise that is intended to result in economic benefit for all of them, said B.J. Chisholm, one of the lead attorneys representing the plaintiffs. In 2023 alone, the economic benefit of prison labor in Alabama was more than $450 million, according to the lawsuit. That means they profited $450 million because that labor was fucking free. In all, more than 24 defendants are accused, among other things, of violating the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the Trafficking Victims and Protections Act, a federal law which bans coerced labor, and Alabama's state constitution, which amended last November to ban all forms of slavery and involuntary servitude. As NPR reported last month, the amendment to the state's constitution is part of a larger movement to end forced labor in prisons. Hilarious. That amendment to the state's constitution is part of a larger movement to end forced labor in prisons. In the past 5 years, 7 states have changed their laws to get rid of what is referred to as the exception clause. That's what I was just talking about. Many state constitutions and the U.S. Constitution ban slavery and involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime. Advocates of prisoner rights say that the language opens the door for forced labor in prisons. Prisoners in Colorado, the first state to amend its constitution, have filed a similar lawsuit, saying the state is forcing people to work in prison and work despite the change in law. Chisholm says lawyers are working on the Alabama case have been closely following the case in Colorado. Alabama is an extreme case where there are so many both private and public employers that are participating in this scheme that it stands out, Chisholm says. But hopefully this lawsuit will be a warning to other states about the violations of federal law that they would be incurring if they expand it in the way that Alabama has. The Alabama prisoners, joined by 3 labor unions and a nonprofit that monitors prison conditions in the state, allege that if they refuse to work, they risk punishment, including solitary confinement, food deprivation, physical punishment, and the loss of good time credits that can reduce a person's time in prison. Damn, they're taking away the good time? Go work at Burger King, or we're taking away your good time. Let's see. Lakira Walker, a plaintiff who was in various state prisons from 2007 till earlier this year, said she faced sexual harassment doing road work and was disciplined when she refused to work because of it. I'm out, but my heart is still there with my friends and family who have to suffer, Walker said in a recorded statement. Damn, they recorded. They say, oh, it's not like that, and oh, we don't force labor, and oh, it's okay, but you have so many women on the inside now that are afraid to speak out. Robert Earl Counsel is in prison at the Lifetime Limestone Correctional Facility in Harvest, Alabama. He is one of the founders of the Free Alabama movement. In the lawsuit, he says he faced beatings, death threat, and psychological abuse from guards for advocating that people in prison refuse to work. Alabama seems to be addicted to cheap labor, Counsel said in a recorded statement. Those who partake in the slave process with Alabama are just as guilty as they are, each corporation, each fast food company. The lawsuit filed this week also alleges that even though some prisoners are deemed safe to work in the community, they are still denied people at unjustifiably high rates, with black people being denied far more often than white people. The cheap forced labor creates an incentive to keep these people in prison, the lawsuit alleges. As a result, it states the current system essentially resurrects the convict leasing system to the post-Civil War era. Labor and incarceration have long been intertwined, says Andrea Armstrong, a professor of law at Loyola University, New Orleans. There was this idea that people should have to pay for their own incarceration, and that is unlike most government services that we offer. Cheap prison labor masks the true costs of incarceration because otherwise prisons would be paying a free person at least minimum wage to do the same work, she says. And there are other intangible costs that she says come in different forms and keeping people isolated behind bars and away from their communities. This is true. Shit is crazy, man. I don't know if you could hear my knees crack just now, but they were crazy. This shit is wild, man. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. Politicians are doing wild shit, inadvertently trying to change incest laws, using their popular Survivor fame to get elected. That's where we're at. You know, I'm not, like I said, I know I said it a few months ago, talking about potentially Michelle Obama running again. It looks like that DNC convention in Chicago is a perfect place for her to announce her candidacy. And let me ask anybody that says, you know, because I know the response is going to be, first of all, Michelle Obama, what qualifications does she have to be the president? Oh, well, she was the first lady. The fuck does that mean? You allegedly fuck the guy who's running the show, and that means you could run the show? Hell no. Hell fucking no. You really think that if she became president that Obama wouldn't be pulling the strings behind the scenes? I mean, let's be real. What's going on with Joe Biden? Who's really pulling the strings? You know, there's a video that I'm sure many of you have seen where Obama says, no, I don't want to be in the spotlight. I wouldn't want a third term. Although, if I could sit behind the scenes, and it's kind of creepy because you're like, oh, damn, you know, we're about to have 12 years of Obama finish up here. And if things go the way that I believe they will go, which is that we may not even have a 2024 election, you know, they'll just fucking elect Michelle Obama because they can't elect Gavin Newsom. I don't even know anybody else that's a Democrat. But it's all bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. You don't vote for the president of a corporation. You just don't. I was talking to somebody about it. They were like, you don't vote? I'm like, well, I voted twice in presidential elections. They said, who'd you vote for? I said, I wrote in the candidate, and that candidate was me. Because I'm the president of my own fucking life. And I will do what I need to. I will say what I need to. You know, I don't know if you've seen, fucking Tucker Carlson did an interview with Vladimir Putin. I'm like 40 minutes in. It's great. It is worth the listen. They're talking about putting a flight ban on Tucker for flying to Russia. Like, there's a lot to that. Shout out, big thank you to my Patreon crew. Big shout out to any of the other homies that are out there getting after it, doing the damn thing. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You know, fucking, you can work through any injuries. You can fucking figure out a way to heal. Just be vigilant, man. Keep doing what you need to do. Show up, be consistent, and get you some fucking first form supplements. There's a link in at lordbongtor.com. You can get on any one of those, and it'll bring you there, and you can place an order. And right now, you can get in the First Form app for free for 30 days. It's not going to auto bill you. It's going to let you know a few days in advance that it's time for you to renew. But it'll be free if you buy some product and you are never been a customer of anyone else with First Form. With that being said, if you're interested in what products I take personally, M Factor, Full Mega, Omega 3s. They come from 6 different sources of fish, and not some farm fish either. It's some high quality shit. You know, M Factor, multivitamin, Opti Greens 50 for greens, Opti Reds 50 for, you know, antioxidants and heart health and whatever else. Protein, both the level 1 and Formula 1. Formula 1, when I drink that post-workout, I'm putting a scoop of, what's it called? Ignition, glycogen, recompensation, resupply, supplement. What else do I use? Joint mobility. How could I forget? Joint mobility is not your daddy's joint fucking pill. This shit really helps with some replenishing your synovial fluid. It's great. So, anyway, get on the fucking Patreon. Go support the show. Go support yourself. Come be a part of the community. Have a great fucking weekend. And by the time this comes out, so will the episode I recorded with Sean Doherty. If you're listening to this and you haven't listened to Sean Doherty, you need to go listen to that shit because it is fire. Me and him had a nice 2-hour plus convo. At the time of this recording, it is not ready to go, but it will be. Sean's the fucking man. Really great fucking individual, great human. Go back and check that episode out. Baltimore out.